Hey everyone, welcome back to the Professor Trades channel, and we are going to do our Sunday crude oil analysis as always. So again, let me welcome you to the channel. And just in case some of you do not know, because sometimes I make the assumption that all of our members know, but if you're new here on YouTube, again, I am the Professor, first name Armando, and I have been teaching college business courses for over 15 years, and I've been trading for over 8 years. And so my goal and my passion is to be able to give back to you everything that I have learned and what made me profitable. So in today's video, I want to make sure I give you massive value. And my plan is for you to leave with today's video understanding more about crude oil, every level. I'm going to give you every zone so that way you can have informed decisions. Of course, if you're in our trading group, then you're going to be updated almost hourly as the markets are going. But if you're not in the group, I definitely want you to use this video for your own educational purposes so you can have a smart way to start the week with crude oil. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the charts so you can begin your plan. Okay, so as we always do, we are starting on the monthly chart. And again, we don't need to go back to 2020, 2021, or 22, but we do want to begin to look from kind of 2023 on. And what I always like to do, you've seen my videos before, is I like to begin to set up these levels. Okay, so this is what we do know. We do know that our low here has come back twice, March of 23 and May of 23. And our high here was created in September of 23. So we have been kind of rocking this area here since those dates back in 2023. And again, just to kind of keep in mind that this is a monthly chart. And I don't know why, but many traders do not look at the monthly. And this is where big institutional money is being traded. Okay. Imagine had you taken a position down here, okay, back in, January of this year, knowing that for the next 4 months, crude oil was going to be steadily be climbing. You could have done that as an investment. You could have done that as a long trade, whatever your goals are for the crude oil market. You could have done it through options. And again, I want to welcome some of the newer options traders that have joined our club. Welcome as well. So again, we are looking at this area here on the monthly. Now, the first thing I always like to do is to begin to develop a game plan and get perspective of the higher timeframes. Okay, so just a quick note that we are currently on an active month, which is right here. And again, April of 24 still has a few more days before we close out. So this is not yet a fully completed candle. Okay, but the one thing that does stand out is that we did come up here towards the 70% fib level and have rejected it so far, right? And if you look at price action, right, it seems like when price got up to that 87.50 level, the sellers have taken over into our current price. And again, do not worry, because we are going to be dropping down at every time frame just about. So stick around for that analysis as well. So that is our view from the monthly. So we understand now that we do have rejection up here at this higher level. And so at that point, I like to mark up another zone there, because that is where price rejected most recently, right? At some point during the month of April 2024. So I'm making this chart a little bit bigger so it's much more visible, whether you're on a smartphone or you're on a telephone or you're on an iPad, so that you can see the charts. Okay, so now we're going to drop down into our weekly. Now we begin to establish these areas within the weekly. So I do want to mark this level here. That was the low. And again, you can see that that level, okay, played a role here as well, with about 5 weeks of rejection before taking off. And we see here we had a couple weeks of rejection, really a little bit more if you look at it, before price took off to the next level. So this is currently where we're at. And I'm going to leave my little eyeglass here tool, which I love for visual purposes. And again, my goal here is to give you as much value on this analysis as possible so you can have a plan for the rest of your week. Okay, so this week that just closed, if we look at this week that just closed, obviously we see here we closed in a bullish candle, okay? Looks almost like a pretty good doji candle, right? Right at the closure there. So now we're going to draw a Fibonacci level. Again, we are establishing our case from this high to where price hit down below and began to reverse. So as we zoom in here now, what do we begin to see at the weekly level? Okay, let me put that fib back. So what we do see is, let me get a brand new arrow, is that we rejected, right? We have rejected the 50% as far as this past week. That's all we know. We're not going to make any assumptions. We're not going to make any guess. We're just having concrete evidence of what we know. At this point, price can go down. At this point, price can go up. There is no clear direction yet where price is going. Okay. So if we look at the price action, okay, we do know this is that if we look at what we standardly call on the weekly a teacup or any time frame, we had price make that teacup, and then now it's made the handle. Okay. Typically, after we see a teacup and a handle, the norm is that we could possibly expect price to continue to the upside. That is the norm, but we don't follow what the norms are. We follow in our group what the candles tell us and what the charts tell us. So that is exactly the way we are going to trade crude oil, just like we do each and every day. So I am going to get rid of the teacup, okay? And I'm actually going to get rid of the entire chart here because now I begin to formulate a plan. Okay, so that plan is, again, understanding that this was the high and we do have equal highs sitting up here. And now we come back down to a much smaller time frame. I'll kind of go back usually and say, okay, we're now working in this area here with regards to the weekly. Okay, by the way, if you're getting some value, head down to that like button, smash that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so now we are jumping into the daily. Now we begin to look for more concrete evidence of support and resistance at these levels. Okay, so we can see here that we definitely have a level there. And then after that, there really is no clear level because if we look here to the left, okay, this particular level here, is kind of up in this area where price is at. Now, if we look here, we can see here that price rejected this area. We look right over here, okay, on 3 different occasions. So if we take this all the way back, okay, and we come all the way to where we are now, it's ironic that we are kind of here now because many times, right, resistance will turn into support and vice versa. Okay, now as we begin to look at this daily candle, not a full complete doji, but what it looks like is that price did finally close above. And could this be a retest of this area, which is about 83.50? So we're kind of near those psychological numbers that crude oil loves. Okay, so could that be a retest to then take price back up into this direction? Okay, so we're going to continue evaluating this, but for now, this is going to be one of our key areas that we are going to look at, especially as we drop down to smaller time frames. Of course, we'll label this as the gap, and then I'll give you some suggestions for the gap by the end of this video. So again, my goal for you here is that maybe you learn something, but that you also have a plan for yourself. Because if you're not in the community and you're doing this by yourself, it is much more difficult. So again, I want to be able to give you a plan in case that is your choice. Of course, you'll see down at the bottom scrolling, even until the end of April, I almost said March, April, right? I'm offering you an opportunity to come in and take a look at our club for $7 for 7 days. So you're paying $1 a day to come in. This will close at the end of April. So now we're here at the daily. Now we're going to head over to the 8-hour chart. So now, and this is why I love this kind of circle strategy here to look at, because it really has you focus into the area. What are we beginning to see, right? We're beginning to see now on a smaller time frame. This could be showing, depending on where the gaps open, okay, this could be showing that break and close above, break, retest, and possibly more to the upside, okay? So hopefully in this circle here, you can see that right in here, okay? That could possibly be the break above, the close, the break, and then now the retest back up to the top side. Now, if that doesn't hold through, then of course, we'll be dropping down to further levels if we get a closure like this below this 83.50 area. Okay, then this just worked as the opposite. Close below, look at this wick right here, retested, and then fell down some more. Okay, but this bullish candle here, okay, back on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, kind of put buyers somewhat back in control for now. Okay, so now we're going to break it down and look at this 4-hour chart, because when you do this multi-chart analysis, you begin to see the picture much clearer. So now what I like to do on the 4 hours, I want to mark up this top level, right? Because if price does come up here, we should be looking at 85.50-ish as our exit point. Okay, now again, we are having a 20 pip challenge in our group. We're helping everyone grab at least 20 ticks on futures or 20 pips inside of Forex, so you can grow that account slow over time. And we're giving you a growth chart, and you could be a 6-figure trader with the plan that we have after 2 years. Even if you start with a $200 account, if you can grab your 20 pips a day, growing it at a very mere 2% a day, very mere 2% a day. So we give you all that inside of our club to make you successful. So now that we're looking at this action right in here, okay, what we look at, and I want to highlight this one more time. I want to bring this here, and then what I want to do is I want to grab this circle, okay, and I want to show you from here this temporary trend. We see the we see the high, we see the low, we see the high. Was this enough of a retracement? Because based on this, just this small wave right here, if this continues, guess where the next high is going to be made? Right up here at 83.50. Okay, very easy to see. It's basically just going to kind of continue in this direction, right, to make that next high. Vice versa. Again, these are no official trend lines. I just want to be able to show you where price is in this channel. And again, we are still on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so we have to understand that we have come down to this level now twice, and you can see that right here. We touched this bottom trend line and this bottom trend line here. So this validates to me right now that we are looking at a decent and a pretty valid trend line at this point within this area right here. So if price does come back and break, it's going to give us the sell that we want below the zone, and the target would be the trend line, because then we have to anticipate it might bounce one more time. A break below the trend line, and then we're going down to 80.50. Okay, so this is going to be important, because this is either going to reject and we're going to head back up towards the trend line, or it's going to break through and we're going to head down to the bottom of the trend line. You see, when you have a plan to trade, it's very easy to switch your bias. I can be a buyer 1 minute, and then the next minute I become a seller, right? Because I let the candles tell me where do you want to go, and then we add some pretty other interesting levels. For example, on this 4-hour chart, right, if we would have drawn this Fibonacci level here, you would have seen that price beautifully rejected not only the trend line, but ironically, look where that trend line was at, right at the 61.8. We use a lot of fibs in our group to be able to give you the most precise entry, and then it also helps with your exit. Okay, the other tool that we use in our group is our parabolic SARs. This is helping many traders not get into a trade and get into a bad trade. So what happens, again, I got an entire strategy on this that we show you. Again, that SAR was created to the top side. That was that candle that we talked about. That bullish engulfing candle right here was your cue. SARs are still on the bottom on the 4-hour chart. So this is still in a long position. This SAR, though, will flip. If this red candle breaks this yellow line and gets close to this SAR right here, it is going to flip to the top side, and that's your cue that we're going short temporarily. Okay, so again, we teach all this, we talk about this, my charts include this, so you're not going to be left out there on your own. Okay, so on the 4-hour. Now, if we look at the 1 hour, we see a different picture, right? We see that a key level had been broken right here, and that's why the SARs appear to the top. But again, we are at this level right here where price closed. So I'm going to go ahead and unmuddy the charts a little bit and be able to show you this now from the 1 hour perspective. Okay. Again, we broke structure. Does everybody see that? We broke this top structure. Are we coming back to retest one time? We already did it on 1 hour. Price went up. Are we coming back for a second retest? And again, if you've been with me for a while, maybe you've heard this, you're an experienced trader, you understand that every wave that you see in trading is either a W or an M. So is this going to be the next leg of that W, right? We shall see. Okay. So this is everything that we look at. But for right now, based on structure, of course, we have to deal with the gap. So we are going to label the gap. Let me grab a label tool. This is going to be the gap. Will be live in our private app and community, trading any major gaps that happen at 6 p.m., especially with the indices. So, and crude oil and natural gas and everything else. So this is going to be our gap. Okay. So there's only going to be a couple of scenarios right here. Let me show you this from a 15-minute perspective. So now you can see this on a smaller time frame with a lot less muddied candlesticks. Okay. So this is going to be our gap right here. So there's going to be two scenarios. And let me explain those scenarios real quick, because guess what? The gaps are not like they were a few years ago. We've seen gaps now on gold, for example, stay open for months. We've seen crude oil stay open. Typically, they would close within a few hours. Now they're carrying over 24 to 48 hours in most cases, sometimes even a week. So if you are going to trade the gap, our rules are it has to be 50 points or more, and your entry size, your entry lot size must be the smallest size possible. So if I'm on futures, I'm trading micros with crude oil on any gaps. If I'm on the Forex side, I'm not trading a standard lot because I have to understand that this could be open. So our strategy for the gap is market opens, we wait at least an hour. If it closes, it closes. If it stays open 50 points or more, then we start entering our first position, understanding that that may become a swing position. That may be when we stack positions. And so we have an entire strategy for that so that you don't hurt your margin and you don't hurt your accounts. Okay. And we've been doing pretty well with the crude oil gaps. So getting back into the chart, we are going to look here. Now, if price opens to the top side, okay, and I'll make a green candle for that, okay, then usually what we expect for price to do is maybe come to a previous level, right? Hang out here for a while, maybe even shoot up higher. And then eventually what happens, price comes back down to close the gap. So we have a strategy for if the market opens and pulls away, we look for entry somewhere 50 points or higher for first entry, and then we start our strategy down to close the gap. Vice versa, if price comes and opens below, same thing, just inversed, right? We let price run away from the gap. When it hits that 50-point mark or so, we are together in the group. We're saying, hey, I'm getting in on the gap, position number one. And then we start looking to do what? To swing it back up to close the gap. So it's something that you have to understand can be open for a few minutes, a few hours, sometimes a few days, very rarely more than a week on any crude oil. Okay. But we are not in regular times right now. Okay. So kind of to give you a little bit of a recap, what I want to do here is I want to go back to the 8-hour chart. Okay. And what I want to do is I just want you to look at this price action. Okay. I want you to look at this price action right here. And you know, I think this is very important if you're going to learn structure. We just did an entire training inside of our private community, basic market structure part 2. There's 2 more parts coming up that our members will have access to. And again, this is just something that you have to understand if you want to take your trading to the next level. So I'm speaking to all the newer traders, maybe people that have been struggling. If you don't understand market structure, then you're going to get on the opposite side of some trades. Knowing market structure, you can actually avoid getting into some bad trades. Okay, and just a quick, hey, listen, again, if you've gotten some value so far, hit that like button. If you're brand new, think about subscribing to the channel, turn on notifications, and more importantly, share this video with your trading community. It might be something that I said that rings that light bulb. I know many of you are in many different trading communities, and that's totally awesome that you're learning somewhere else as well. So share this video and give some value to someone else as well. So when you're looking at this chart right here on the 8-hour, understand that in this wave, right, we still have room to go to the top side. Okay, we still have room to go to the top side. Now, how far up? We don't know, right? This has been the high right here at 84.50 that happened back on just last week, right? When it comes to this 8-hour chart, we know that this is the high back from April 18th, right? So are they going to come back up to target the high? Is there going to be some news from what's going on globally to drive up crude oil? We don't know. But if you're looking at this structure, as of right now, we are climbing the ladder, right? We are beginning to climb the ladder. This structure begins to look a lot like this structure, where then we had a pullback and then we took off, right? So when you start looking, we could see a pullback and a takeoff, right? We're not going to truly drop and change this structure until we close below 80 again. If we do not close below 80, then this is still a bullish structure. So if you look at crude oil from back in here, I don't think I need to tell you that we are still in a bullish structure. So if you're sitting on one side of the fence, you should really, at this point, be buying the dips on crude oil, because structure is still telling us that we are going higher. And right now, that's what the analysis we just did, the plan that I just gave you to be successful, is definitely telling you. Okay, so again, I hope you got some value on this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are in the trading group, again, thank you to all of our members. I just updated and saw our stats. We are now sitting at 186 community members since we launched in December of 2023. I'm so excited. My goal is to hit to 500 and then close the doors for this particular community. Again, with a 92.6 retention rate, I think everyone is enjoying their experience. Everyone's learning from each other. We have an active chat that goes on, London session, US session. And again, as we begin and continue to grow with traders from all over the world, we're just getting more value from them. We're getting more expertise. We have someone who shares Elliott wave charts as well. We now have folks trading options. So again, I'm giving you some stock picks, maybe once or twice a week on my favorite stock that I'm buying. So again, just trying to build community in a place with real people, no BS, no fluff, no fancy editing, just learning community, with the ultimate goal is for people to reach their goals one small step at a time. You're not going to get rich overnight. You're not going to, take a $200 account to 10,000 overnight. That's the wrong way to go about trading. So if you're serious about growing your account over time, we have a plan for you. If you can invest 2 to 3 years in doing it the right way, you'll never look back. You will be a 6-figure trader. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed and have a beautiful, beautiful week.